Are you able to share with us what a typical week of training or movement looks like for you?
Sure.
And I appreciate that may not feel achievable for someone who's about to start, but I wonder if we could start off with what you do, and then we can perhaps wind back to someone who's never done any of this before, where they can start.
Yes. And number one, I want people to give themselves grace. Because sometimes when people say what I'm about to say, they're like, oh, I could never. It's not about that. Start where you are. And I'll give you the example. I'm on a book tour right now. I am really busy in different time zones. So I am not doing everything that I would normally love to do. And I'm going to give myself grace. It's the period of life and not judge myself for it. But ideally, this is what I do. I have a flexibility and mobility practice, meaning I am trying to stretch out my tendon, ligaments, and muscles nearly every day. This is where I don't do Pilates or yoga, but if you do, this is where that comes in to be marvelous. I do a dynamic warm-up every day, which gets every joint, every set of tendons and ligaments around my major joints moving, right? So daily flexibility and mobility.
10 minutes?
It is just a series, and it's outlined in the book, The Dynamic Warm-Up. It's just a series of 10 things that if I do the inchworm motion, it warms up my ankles, my knees, my hips. If I do hamstring extensions, it gets my hips and my knees.
First thing in the morning? Is that when you tend to do it?
No, I do it before I work out.
Before you work out?
I put it all together.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, the only reason I ask is because I do mobility every day, but it's part of my morning routine. So I'll get up.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm really into meditation, so I'll meditate. And then it's in my living room, which has got a carpet on the floor. So it's straight afterwards. I'll probably spend 5-10 minutes just doing a whole variety of mobility exercises. I almost feel like it's waking up all of my joints for the day ahead. So you do it before you work out.
Yes.
I do it first thing in the morning. But
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, some form of mobility to keep all the joints moving. Okay.
That's right. And then when it comes to, and we'll just use this acronym that you mentioned, F, that's F. A, aerobic. I used to be the marathon running, middle distance, getting my heart rate into middle zones all the time, as so many people did. I now use an 80-20 method. 80% of the time, I am in lower heart rate, base training heart rate zone, which is very metabolically efficient. It helps my mitochondria be flexible with what fuel source I'm using, whether it's protein, carbs, or fat. And it burns more fat than the middle distance, middle high intensity exercising that I'll talk about in a minute. So 80% of the time. So that is 3 hours a week, broken up into 45-minute sessions. I choose to do mine either by walking home from work, which is 2.5 miles, or I have a treadmill in my room upstairs.
So 4 45-minute sessions a week in what's typically these days called Zone 2 training, which is basically low heart rate training.
Yeah. And I came to that based on the research of Inigo San Milan, who is a physiologist for the Tour de France. So he has a lab in my building, so I use his method. And I have the privilege of having my lactate threshold, which is telling me where my heart rate is, done with finger sticks. If you can't do that, then you can estimate it. Many wearables estimate it, but you could take your age 181 minus your age will give you a range of heart rate.
But you also, and you do share this in the book, that for people who don't want to get that technical and don't want to do lab testing, it's basically a lot easier than you think.
Oh, it's brisk walking.
It's brisk walking. It's basically where you can still talk, but if there was a person on the phone chatting to you, they would also know that you were working a little bit.
Yeah, you would be breathless.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the end of doing that, I break a little sweat because I can feel my metabolism revving up.
So you try to do about 3 hours of that a week.
That's correct. And that's when I listen to podcasts.
Yeah, so
I learn something.
So it's relatively, in inverted commas, easy training, relatively.
Yeah.
You're burning fat. It's good for your metabolic flexibility.
That's right.
The other thing, which I think a lot of people don't realize about that form of training, is that it doesn't spike your cortisol.
Right.
And which is just incredible. I had Professor Stephen Seiler, who's also the same ilk of Inigo.
Yeah.
Again, Stephen's one of the world's leading sports scientists. And I think he might have coined the 80-20 training term, I think,
good. Yeah.
from when he observed it in a lot of elite athletes.
Exactly. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, he was just sharing me when he came on the show that actually you don't see a cortisol spike. So it's easy to recover from that stuff.
That's right.
Because you share in the book actually that in your younger years, you went all in on high intensity interval training.
Because I'm impatient.
Yeah. And actually, you were sharing a lot of the research book where actually as you get older, you don't want to be doing that 5-6 days a week. It can actually start to be counterproductive.
Well, because it's not low intensity enough to allow for recovery. And it's not high intensity enough, sprint intervals, to really change physiology. So my office is in this gorgeous performance center, and I see class after class on the indoor football field of medium intensity circuit training where people are out there busting it. They are working really hard, but they're not high enough to be sprinting, and they're certainly not in a low heart rate cortisol state. And so what happens is they don't get the results they want. They're working hard. They don't get the results they expect, and they're injured a lot every 3 weeks or so, and then they have to take time off and their brains go crazy because they don't have the dopamine spikes. So 80% low heart rate. And then twice a week, I sprint. Sprinting is not running on a track like Sha'Carri Richardson. Sprinting is a heart rate function, meaning getting it up as high as it can go, your own personal heart rate can go. So, but you do that for very short bursts, for 30 seconds, complete recovery, whatever that takes you. It takes me 2 to 3 minutes, 4 times. That sprinting is so good for your muscle-derived stem cells. It's so good for your mitochondrial function. And it's high enough heart rate that, frankly, it's great for your brain. You feel like kind of a, pardon me, but badass when you hop off the treadmill after sprinting, right? So that's how I do my cardio.
So hold on, 10 to 15 minutes maybe of this dynamic warm-up, so mobility and flexibility on most days.
Most days.
3 hours of this low-intensity aerobic training, either walking home or on a treadmill.
Yes.
Twice a week, you're doing SIT, sprint interval training.
After my walk.
After your work. So your walk is warming you up.
Totally warmed up.
Totally warm before you start sprinting.
That's right.
And what I love about this is it's kind of echoing, particularly on this SIT point, what Stacey Sims said when she came on recently. I have some female friends and family members in my life who I would say are active, who walk regularly, but don't do sprint interval training. Can you make the case to me and hopefully then to them why, yes, walking and being generally mobile is very good, but why would you say that they're not getting the full benefits of movement unless they're having this stimulus to their system?
You know, it's just not intense enough to signal the metabolic pathways to cause the muscle satellite cell replication and the burning of fat that you get for sprinting or the mitochondrial division. But if you want a purely aesthetic reason, in my own life and in that of the people that I care for, it is the sprint intervals and the heavy lifting that recomposes you to lean. Because if we're trying not to be skinny fat, but lean, it is the sprinting and the lifting that will get you there. Because working out in the middle zone is not going to get you lean, interestingly. That's why we have a lot of great marathon runners, but they have a lot of fat mass, right?
You actually said in the book, actually, I found this very honest of you. You were open saying, listen, I was doing the baseline cardio and I was doing strength training, but it was when you added in the sprint interval training that you really saw the change in your body. And you shared in the book that at that time, you think that is what got you down to 22% body fat.
Absolutely. I went from, when I was writing this book, I had come off the time when I gained 20, 30 pounds during perimenopause, which was unheard of for me. I was an athlete. And so I had always been so thin that I had 19% body fat.
Was that hard for you?
Gaining that weight?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was at the critical decision point of whether I buy a new wardrobe. Could I still fit into all these things that I had invested in at a certain size? Or was I going to have to do what so many women decide to do, which is get the next 2 or 3 sizes up? And I just decided, I know the science. I am worth the investment. I'm going to get this done. And so I did. And over about a 6 to 9 month period, using the things you're asking me about is how I cite in the book. I gained 8 pounds of muscle. I lost all this body fat. I was leaner. And aesthetically, I loved it. And you know what? That goes up and down. That's why I give yourself grace. I'm on a book tour now. I'm not doing 4 or 5 days a week, but I will again when it settles down.
So the sprint interval training is 30 seconds off something. It doesn't have to be literally
running.
sprinting.
No.
It could be the battle rope or
vertical, or the alpine thing, or the rowing, or
something as fast as you can.
Yes, to get
for
your heart rate up.
30 seconds. And then what do you do?
Completely recover. So I'll give you my example. So I do this on a treadmill. To do base training on a treadmill, I currently do 4 to 5 incline, 4 to 5 speed, and that will keep my heart rate about 130. When I am done, then I punch this treadmill up to 11. Now, I'm not a very tall person. So for me, I'm just trying not to fly off the back of this treadmill, but I'm moving so fast that my heart rate goes up over 180. And I can sustain that for about 30 seconds. Then I'm grabbing the side rails and I completely turn the treadmill down to 2 and I just walk. And it takes me 2 to 3 minutes to get my heart rate back down to, and I start again when I'm about 140. And then I punch it up again and I'll do another 30 seconds. That's how it goes for me.
And how many 30 seconds?
Just 4 times.
4. I mean, that's not that much,
it's not terrible. You can do anything for 30 seconds. And once you've done 2, you're like, okay, I've only got 2 more.
Yeah. And you do that twice a week.
Twice a week.
And I think the final part is resistance training.
Yes. So I think all kinds of resistance training can be helpful, but it depends what your goals are. So I often have women tell me that they've been instructed, and I often say flippantly, put down the mamby-pamby pink weights. Well, okay. So if someone has handed you a 3 to 5 pound weight and said lift it 30 times, that is good for endurance. You will fail after 30 times of lifting a very small weight. If your goal is endurance, fine, you do that. That's not our goal in midlife and beyond. That is not going to help you live independently. If your goal is purely hypertrophy, which is what we tend to do when we're younger, looking at our big muscle mass in the mirror and damaging our muscle enough that we grow and recover with bigger muscles, that is a failure range of 10 to 15 reps times 4 sets. There's nothing wrong with that if that's your goal. My goal in midlife is not to have the biggest muscles. Now, do I build muscle? Yes, I do. Can I get lean? Yes, I can. Our goal in midlife and beyond is strength and then power. Strength to be able to get up off the floor. Power not to trip, to be able to catch yourself, to have some fast twitch muscle, right? So strength is built with higher weights, lower reps. And you probably heard this from Stacy Sims. We agree on many things. So that means a rep range of 3 to 6. Now, I've been a clinician a long time. I have found I cannot give people ranges. It's too confusing. They want to be really good instructions, so there's no confusing. So the rep range that I work around myself and with the people I work with is 4 reps to failure, 4 sets. Now, listen, if you're starting from the couch, it may take you 6 months, 9 months. It may take you getting lifting lessons so that you're hinging correctly. That's how you move your hips. You're stacking your joints. You're giving your tendons and ligaments time to adjust. But once you get there, we're going to lift heavy, which is low reps, 4 sets, so that you fail at that high rep. That is in the 4 compound lifts, meaning a compound lift is using multiple joints. So upper body is some kind of bench press. It's some kind of pull, like a pull-up. For the lower extremity, it's some kind of squat and some kind of deadlift. That's not all you do, but that's the basis for what you do. So on a lift day for me, if we're talking about my lift, when I'm lifting 4 times a week, I'll do 2 to 3 leg days, and I'll do a 1 to 2 arm days, depending how the week goes. So if it's a bench press day, I'm going to do 4 sets, 4 reps, heavy. Here's what it looks like. I can do it 4 times. I may be able to do 5, but I'm not doing 6 without dumping the weights off because that's when I fail. And then you support that with the single muscle lifts, biceps, triceps, lats, delts, with slightly higher reps, 8 to 10. And then core any day of the week, right? So I usually do one body part. If it's a Saturday and I have hours that I can kill in a gym, then I will do both cardio and lifting on one day.